Hello, everybody, and welcome in to episode 96 of the Dual Screens Crossplay podcast. I am not Stephen Fontana, and over there is not Andy Asimakis. You got your boys, Taylor and Kory, in the house because Steve is just so sick he might die, and Andy is out boondoggling the world. Kory, hello, how are you, my friend?
Not bad, not bad. Just coming back in. It's been really nice. With everyone, with Andy continuing to evade the show
Mm-hmm.
and venture the world of America, or be working like crazy. I've been
Yeah,
having a lot of time on the show and I love it. So it's been nice, and now we get to have our first show together, Taylor.
I know. I'm very excited. Maybe more to come in the near future. Keep an eye out.
Maybe.
Little teaser there. But yeah, it's been nice having more members of the cast so that Steve doesn't have to do his awkward like solo shows every once in a while and stuff like that. It's nice being able to put stuff out consistently. For those of you that don't know what we're putting out consistently, though, this is the Dual Screens Crossplay podcast, the number one console agnostic video games news show that you've never heard of, probably. Dual Screens Crossplay posts each and every week for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including Podbean, our home. It's also on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, and dualscreens.com. Please consider leaving us a review on any of those sites that allow reviews as well, because they help us out a ton. Before we get started, you can also support us over on the Patreon at patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, FNH Paul, and Vegas Girl on Fire. We literally could not do this without all of your guys' support. It allows us to gain credibility with the indie devs and all of the awesome stuff we've been able to do this year. So in light of the Thanksgiving holiday, we just want to say thank you to all of our amazing Patreon supporters. Now, let us get in to the adventures in gaming. Kory, what have you been playing, my friend?
I have, with all the great sales, Black Friday's here.
Mm-hmm.
All the great sales we have on right now. My buddies and me have been on this trend of trying to play cooperative games. Now, my one buddy loves the survival games, the build your base kind of style of game. And with
Mm-hmm.
that, just recently, Terraria and Don't Starve Together have had a cross, basically, what do you call it? Basically, they've had a cooperative compilation of both their
Cross event.
games, the cross
Yeah.
event, where they have some enemies coming from one game going to the other and vice versa. And
Mm-hmm.
so to celebrate that, Don't Starve Together actually went down to, I think, Canadian. It went down to $5.77 for two copies.
Holy shit. For two
For
copies.
two copies. So you buy one, and because it's Don't Starve Together, you get another copy for your friends. So we definitely picked up that. We've been playing a lot of that. So for those who don't know, Don't Starve Together is actually a company made by a game company in Canada. Uh, I think it's Key Software, out of Vancouver, right next to your boy, the Grounded Gamer,
Just right down the road.
right down the road. And it is a top-down survival horror game where not only is it about just surviving the elements by feeding yourself, surviving off the animals and monsters that come after you, you also have a sanity meter. And with that, depending on what happens, if you get stuck in the dark for too long, you just die. Or you go criminally insane, or doing things like having to murder chickens and murder animals. If you have to start doing that, the more you do that, the more stuff happens to you. And then sooner or later, you just go insane. The darkness comes after you, and then you restart again. With that, the nice thing is with Don't Starve Together, you get to play with up to six of your friends, whether you want to play together, whether you want to have
Oh.
it where you get to cooperatively just have all madness and everyone's just everywhere on the map and everyone's trying to kill each other and all other things. You can die and then become a ghost and haunt other players and make sure they go criminally insane too. So if you guys want, it's only on sale as of this moment for another 14 hours. So if you're watching this live on our Twitch, which I hope you are, that means that you get to be the ones that probably will get this sale. Another great sale that also came up from our Black Friday is 7 Days to Die, which 7 Days to Die is by an indie developer company. It was actually been early access. It's still quote unquote in alpha since 2013.
I was gonna say, I feel like this game has been out forever.
It has. Now once again, the reason why we picked it up is Green Man Gaming had some great sales on, and one of these games was this, where it cost $6 for one copy or $10 for two. So
Not bad.
when $10 Canadian, two copies of the game, give one to your buddy, you get to play. It's an open world. It's kind of a cross as if you were to play almost like DayZ, first person DayZ of the survival zombie kind of apocalypse, with a little bit more of the survival base building aspect of it.
Mm.
So it's all about just exploring, going into houses, finding things, crafting up the next thing, and then continuing that process and doing it with your friends. So you can play up to, I think, 8 people per server. They've got mods and everything else. So it's been a fun experience for sure. But like I said, it's nice to play stuff like that. And then other than that, the only other thing, which I know you've been playing as well, as Halo. Halo made a surprise. It came out,
Halo's back, baby.
and
Halo's back.
oh my goodness, I've been playing every time I'm not playing the other two survival games when I just feel like actually winning. I go play some Halo, and I haven't played Halo since Halo 3 multiplayer.
Hmm.
I may be wearing a PlayStation shirt and maybe a PlayStation guy, but Halo is still, when you think of it, one of those games I always go back to that brings me those great living of nostalgic memories of just a classic shooter, especially
Yeah.
multiplayer wise.
Yeah, so I love Halo. I have played every Halo multiplayer. I think it's a fantastic series. And I've missed it, right? Like it's been a while since Halo 5 multiplayer has been relevant. I haven't played it in years. And so it's been nice getting back to that like classic Halo feel.
Yeah,
I think the game, as far as like gameplay loop and things like that, feel incredible. I have some gripes with the game around the way like the battle pass progresses and
yes,
the inability to like choose your game mode to match make for and
yeah.
things like that. But uh, as a whole, as far as the game feels and plays and things like that, it's absolutely awesome. I've loved jumping back in.
Yeah, I mean, this is still, as it released, is still technically quote unquote in a beta, right? So
Yeah.
that's where, we've got to give a little bit of the slack there, in the sense of, what, they released it a month early. They
Hmm.
could have just waited till next month, I'm sure, a lot of the stuff, but I think this is more where they wanted to release it early enough so everybody can see what this game's doing and then hear from the fans of what they want. And that's the big
Yeah.
thing. Like, I've heard the same thing. I am the same way with the battle pass. We won't go into what's wrong with it. But there is some things they need to fix for sure. And then with that, yeah, choosing a game mode, like, just one example, when
Hmm.
they kind of coincide, is where one of my daily weeklies I have to do is play an oddball match. And for people that don't know, the only way to get your battle pass up is you have to play, do your weeklies. That's the weeklies
Hmm.
and daily missions are only thing you can do to get
Yeah.
experience for your battle pass, and it's such
You
a
don't
small amount
gain
of.
like
No, you can be
like
top of the
Fortnite
server,
does yeah, Fortnite does it really well where literally every action that you do in the game,
earns
you
you
gain
experience.
experience
Yeah.
points that goes towards your battle pass. That's not the case with Halo.
No, and that's the big thing, is where I got stuck, where it was do an oddball match, kill
Hmm.
someone in one of the vehicles with a rocket, or no, kill in a wasp, which is the flying vehicle,
Yeah.
with the rocket, then play a seed match, big team battle. And the problem was, is I played 7 matches in a row of quick play on small things, and I did not. It took me 8 matches before I got my oddball game in, and so
And
you're
during
gaining no
those 8
experience.
matches,
I
yeah,
can't get the
you
other
gain
things
absolutely
because
nothing.
the other two things are on the big team battle. And so
Hmm.
that's where it runs into an issue in that. But like I said, other than that, I love the way it's played. I do like the idea that there's not really, from what I don't see, there's not a whole lot that makes the battle pass like so different. My one big
Hmm.
complaint, other than that, is that being that everyone can customize their own character right now, there's a lot of times that I'll be on the blue team and then the other player on the other team will have blue, and once they lose their shield, they just look like a blue guy, and you're like, oh, he's on my
Yeah.
team. And then just because you think of old Halo where it's red versus
Hmm.
blue, and then you're like, oh, he's on my team, and then you don't shoot him, and then you realize, no, he's on the enemy team, and he shoots you in the face. So
Yeah, it's a little tough to discern. I feel like with shields on, they just turn into like a big red blob, and then with no shields, it's hard to track.
yeah. But what
Um,
have you been playing?
yeah, so a lot of Halo. One game that got overshadowed because of the Halo Shadow drop. I've been playing the new Battlefield a little bit.
Now,
Um,
how are you liking that? Because here's the thing: for I don't want to talk about the idea that this is the worst reviewed game on Steam right now for most negative reviews. I've seen my brother play it. I know there's a lot of things missing. This does seem like it's just a continuation of the beta for me. I haven't rushed out to buy it for those
mhm.
reasons, but I mean, how are you finding it and what's your experiences so far?
So I have always really liked the way that Battlefield feels, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I enjoy the game. I think it's totally fine. I think the hyperbole around it is all of the like negative feedback is like stuff that is totally fixable. And actually just
Mhm.
today, we're not going to talk about this in the news, but they put out this huge blog post detailing like their short-term roadmap, all of the changes they're wanting to implement. Like it's super super in depth. So
Yeah.
like team is listening, right? One of my biggest issues with the game right at launch and in the beta was the weapon bloom, right? I
Yeah.
feel like competitive shooters like that should never have bloom because it just like comes down to bullet RNG, right?
Yeah.
And that's super frustrating. And so they addressed that. They said they're monitoring it closely. They're going to bring that bloom in much tighter so that you're hitting shots more consistently. So, like, even in the short window that it's been out, they're actively listening to
Oh yeah.
feedback. They've been communicating super, super well on how they're going to change it, which I love. I think the game has a ton of potential. And I'm definitely going to continue playing it. I haven't had the chance to jump in with friends yet, which is always my preferred way to play Battlefield. But when I can, get a full squad together and just kind of dick around, I think it'll be totally fine. And I think it has a lot of potential to get better.
Yeah, and I think the big reason why I think Battlefield is getting the issues it is just because we got Call of Duty out,
Hmm.
that failed terribly, and then
Hmm.
everyone's like, Battlefield will be the game that makes this better. Battlefield will like it's gonna
Yeah,
be the saving bond. And then when Battlefield came out and wasn't that, hey, here's a game that's worth playing over this game, I think the problem is it got a lot more flack because of that. Call of Duty kind of
totally.
luckily enough got kind of like, hey, we don't have to do anything now. Like a lot of
People kind of expected
forgot.
it to be shit,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And that's where Battlefield people didn't expect that because after the
Hmm.
beta they were promising a lot of things and then people were like, well,
Yeah,
wait a second, what's going on? But
yeah,
I know there's one other game. I saw it on your like list of games that you've been playing.
yes.
I've been playing this as well.
Yeah, so couple other things really quick. I did start yesterday Pokemon Shining Pearl with my son.
Nice.
Um, that was a lot of fun. It's so funny watching him because this is like his first Pokemon game ever, right?
Yeah.
I let him choose our starter. He's still a little too young. He just turned 4, so he like can't read really well. So Pokemon's a little tough for him to play on his own. But I'm playing. He's helping me.
Yeah.
He's sitting there with the controller that's not plugged in. But I let him pick our starter, and um, I don't think I've ever been more disappointed in my spawn than when he chose a grass type starter. But I will say, of all of the grass type starters, Turtwig is one of the better ones.
Yeah.
So I'll at least give him that. He said he wanted the turtle with the stick. So I gave him the turtle with the stick. But then, last thing that I've been playing and what has taken up the majority of my gaming time is New World. I've got a podcast for those of you that don't know about New World here on the Dual Screens Network. So definitely go give that a listen. Faction Wars, a New World podcast. Um, so I've got my main character up to level 60, getting deep into the end game stuff. And then just recently, I just posted an editorial on the site about this. I started a no death run in New World. We're up to level 31 on that one. It's
You
very
crazy man.
stressful,
You
but it
crazy man, you.
it feels good though. Like it's been fun. Like the opening like 30 hours of New World is so satisfying, right? Because you're just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
leveling up and turning
Yeah.
quests in and like doing all this shit all the
And you
time.
feel like you're
And so like
progressing so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
so quickly. And so like getting back to that has been awesome. Like it's felt like a breath of fresh air. And even with all of the like weird bugs and shit going on with that game right now, like
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
been really, really cool to just like get back to the beginning again and get to like experience those opening areas with fresh eyes again and like be afraid to go to Brightwood and Cutlass Keys and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
having to worry about the types of enemies I'm going to run into in those areas and stuff. So it's been really awesome.
Fantastic.
Alrighty, shall we get into our indie news update, Corey?
We should.
Okay, this is over from Destructoid. They detailed the Dead Cells Everyone is Here update, and I am hyped as hell. So they have included guest characters from Hollow Knight, Blasphemous, Hyperlight Drifter, um, what's the other one? Curse of the Dead Gods and Skull. Um and it's so cool. Like seeing all of these skins for these other characters in the game, seeing some of their like iconic weapons in the game has been absolutely awesome. Very very excited for this update. Dead Cells is the best game to come out in 2018 and I'll stand by that forever.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw this too, and I mean, I still have yet to play Dead Cells. I have it on my in
Oh,
my. They gave
oh.
it to us away for free, I think, in Epic. I have it. Or is it Dead Cells or Blasphemous? I can't remember, but either way, I know everyone tells me to play this game, and now with this update, and I saw as soon as it came out, it hit the Discord, the special Discord that everyone gets to be part of when they are part of the Patreon. And everyone was just like just on fire about this. Like I kid you not, my phone just kept on going off, and everybody and their dog was just getting in there going, I can't wait for this, I can't wait for this. Everyone's super excited. Like it was probably the biggest news I've seen in a long time come from people and get everyone excited. So super stoked to see this coming. Can't wait. I'll
Do you want to
I'll
know?
I'll probably go and do it and give it a try.
Play this fucking game, Corey. It's so good. Do you want to know what else is getting people so excited though?
What's that?
The acquisition of Harmonix by Epic Game Studios. Let's get some applause in the chat. Everyone is hyped for the Rock Band creators being acquired by Epic. Corey, what's the breakdown?
I mean, the breakdown of this is that EA hasn't done anything with them forever, and finally a company is that actually has money is like, hey, we understand what you did and like the way you changed the industry, and here you go, here's some money, right? Like that's the big thing is right now the big thing I like is that we get to start to see where studios are being not just abandoned anymore, which is great.
Mhm.
Because the problem I've seen in the last couple of years is before when a studio would get to this point where nothing's come out and something would happen, they would just close it down, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, with Harmonix being bought by Epic, there obviously was something happening where they were put out by EA or they themselves stepped out saying, "Hey, we're looking for contracts and being purchased." Obviously,
Mhm.
there was something there, and the idea that Epic, I mean, yes, does do we want Epic to be like turn this into another Fortnite? No, but hopefully with this, it allows them to have the freedom and the financial freedom to make another game like Rock Band
Yeah.
or
They've
something new,
actually
right? So that's the big thing, right? Like that this is where
Mhm.
they could branch out.
Yeah, they've actually put out some pretty cool VR games, and I think that's like the next evolution of Harmonix, right? I don't
Yeah,
know if you guys are familiar with like Fuser, or they put out in 2016 Harmonix Music VR,
yeah.
um, Audica, like things like that. I think taking that's like the logical next step from the Rock Band like toy controller things into like a Beat Saber type genre,
Which would
right?
be so cool.
So I think this is an awesome acquisition from Epic. Hopefully they get into more VR stuff. Because I think that would be super cool. Seeing a big company support VR in a very real way. I think is what's going to help keep that subsect of gaming really chugging along.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna be great that we're gonna see possibly another rock band revival. But you know what, Taylor? Something else that came up this week is another revival that I was quite shocked and surprised to hear that this may be coming. Which, for those who don't know, there's a remake possibly is reported as Chrono Cross. Now, for me, why this is so surprising is one, the for the longest time we've heard Legend of Dragoon, which that's kind of the big when you look at PlayStation games that were big RPGs, usually
Mhm.
Legend of Dragoon is the ones that comes up. But it's interesting that out of the Chrono series, they choose Chrono Cross to remake over Chrono Trigger. Chrono Cross was not played by a lot of people due to the fact, for one, it was a PlayStation console one, but it was two
Mhm.
discs. It was I beat the game, I played it, it was good, but it spawned so differently from Chrono Trigger as a lot of people. It was kind of like a love hate game. You either
Yeah.
loved it or you hated it, and I loved it when I played it. I actually beat Chrono Cross before I beat Chrono Trigger. So for me, I never really experienced Chrono Trigger. I understand why Chrono Trigger is the better game, but
Mhm.
it's an interesting that we're going to see a remake on this for sure. Um, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on this new release?
I am profusely upset. I mentioned this in the Discord earlier when this was shared, but I did not have Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross growing up. I didn't have Final Fantasy VII, but I did have The Legend
Legend?
of Dragoon.
Yeah,
So that was my first foray into like JRPGs.
yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. I still to this day I adore that game. And so all of the rumors swirling for years that that's going to be the next big Sony remake, it just like it
I
hurts my
know,
heart. I want it so bad,
I
but
know.
I, I'm totally open, especially if it's Blue Point doing this.
Yeah.
Like everything that Blue Point touches turns to gold. I'm totally down. I'll definitely play it, but just a little bummed
Well,
that it's not
I think the
Legend of
reason
Dragoon.
of I think why Chrono Cross maybe might have been chosen over Legend of Dragoon 2, personal opinion, is that Legend of Dragoon is kind of set in stone of where it sits. Like the story's set in stone, the way the
Mhm,
characters are set is set in stone, so it kind of doesn't have a lot of room to change. Whereas I think Chrono Cross, with the way the game played out, kind of lets you be able to. They could change the story, they could change a lot of things, and because a lot of people haven't played it,
mhm,
they could make it so that the fans of the older game will still like it, and people that are new coming to it. Because for those who don't know, little spoiler about the original Chrono Cross, the way the game plays out is basically it still plays like an RPG, just like your standard thing, but in the Chrono universe, usually there's some type of time travel. And so what happens in this game is you play through the first disc as the main hero with his friends, you play along, you go through this whole process, you become big, you fight the big bad guy. You're like, "Wait a second, I'm still on disc 1. What's going on?" You fight
yeah,
him, something happens, all of a sudden now you're the bad guy and you have to be you've somehow gone back in time. You now are the bad guy. You now have to be the bad guy to work your way up to fight the heroes, which is actually the bad guys, and then beat them and then be able to change your bodies back. And so it's this weird idea that I think this could be a game where, it might have the Chrono Cross name, but they could
mhm.
completely change this and just keep it where I think if there was just was a new Chrono game in the Chrono universe, that's what I would love to see for sure. So
Yeah. Well, I know some people may be disappointed by this news, but do you want to know who else is disappointed, Corey?
everybody about Activision.
Everybody about Activision. So it has been an ongoing theme of this show to highlight that Activision somehow has fucked up even more than they did before. Yeah, yeah, multiple iterations of more. Um, this week, we're getting a lot of leaked documents from guys like Phil Spencer, Doug Bowser over at Nintendo. Jim Ryan at PlayStation, all of the big wigs at these big console manufacturers have leaked these documents saying that they are evaluating their relationship with Activision. Do you know what Activision does, Corey?
Nothing.
Among all of the worse than nothing, actually. If they did nothing, I think it would get a better reception. Um, Amid all of the talks of their employees walking out over these horrible ongoing workplace
Yeah.
conditions and sexual harassment claims and accusations towards their CEO Bobby Kotick that he was aware of this for years. uh, their board of directors doubles down, says that they are supporting Bobby Kotick through all of this, and state that they have created a new internal team to help with these issues.
Hooray!
Like, I cannot face palm any harder.
No.
I just don't get it.
You know what? It's stuff like not to go too far into this, but it's just like it's stuff like this that when you see something like this happen, where especially something like with a company so big, come out and have such a big thing where it's such a negative view on the video game industry as a whole. It really makes it hard to think of something positive about it, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's why I think today, for those who don't know, we're just gonna cut the news there,
yeah,
because you know what, we wanted to. It's Thanksgiving coming up now. I'm Canadian, so for me, I've already had it.
yeah.
I know everyone
It's
in all you,
post Thanksgiving for him.
yeah, it's post Thanksgiving, but you know what, Taylor decided that he wanted to come up with a great topic today about talking about what we're thankful about in video games in 2021, and I thought, you know what, let's just push that Activision thing under the bridge and let's just do that. Let's just talk about stuff that we're thankful for. And if you guys want in the chat, just type about what you're thankful too. You know what? We'll scroll through there and we'll talk about that afterwards too. But uh,
Yeah. So each of us have three different things that we wrote down that we are grateful for from the video game industry in 2021. And Corey, I think you have a great one here to start out.
yeah, so the big thing for me was, this is we got the end of the first year of consoles, from both PS5 and Xbox Series X. And I know at the very beginning of the year, it seemed like, going into a new console was going to be kind of that thing where it was like, cool, so here's your PS5, here's a couple PS5 games, or here's your Series X, here's a couple Series X games. But
Mhm.
the majority of your time, you're just going to spend it playing PS4 games and Xbox One games. We're not going to have that true generation jump. But this is the first
Mhm.
time that we saw so many games this year, like classics like Skyrim, and a lot of even the smaller titles like Metro and, Avengers from, all get these upgrades.
Mhm.
And, it's really great to see that there's a lot of these companies that are just going, we've heard from you guys. We want to show you what the new consoles can do. So we're going to give this game a free upgrade. And here you go. Here's the new version of it, right? Like, I can't be more excited about Skyrim on PS5. There's so many things that came out with this, and if you had the PS4 version, you got the PS5 version for free. That's the biggest part about what makes me thankful for all of these. Yes, there are those games that you do have to pay for. Okay, we understand that, but there's so many games that we're getting these free upgrades for, which lets us replay it again, re-earn those trophies, re-earn those. I don't know if the Xbox lets you re-earn achievements, but we're re-getting to play those games in a different way, especially on the
Mhm.
PS5, and it makes it a new experience, and it gives us another chance to relive these great games that we played before. So
Yeah. Absolutely awesome. My very first thing that I am thankful for in video games in 2021 is Amazon Game Studios for giving me the ultimate ADHD game to play until I hit max level, and then it grinds to a complete halt and makes you want to start over. Um, I have had so much fun in New World this year. I've been making more content around that game and have been more excited around about making content around that game than anything that has ever come out in the past. And I genuinely do love the game so much. Like I have so much love for that game and the potential that it has. And I'm just so grateful that it came along when it did, so that I didn't slip back into my Destiny addiction while all my friends were playing Destiny. Um,
Yeah.
because
It
for those of you, for those of you that haven't heard the story, Destiny almost ended my marriage. So thank you, Amazon Game Studios, for saving my marriage.
There we go. And I mean it's great. I mean for all the flack it's getting right now, yeah, it's been one of those games where when I first picked it up, it is a game I haven't pushed that hard into a game, and I know it's got its issues, but like I still feel the urge to come back all the time. And
Hmm.
the great thing I like about it compared to things like I did the Destiny thing too. But I love the way New World does it because I don't feel too penalized for not taking that time away and coming back, which I like
Yeah.
about New World. Like I can walk away for a week. Yes, my house may have a taxes owing on it or whatever, but I can come back in a week, continue to play. I've got levels, rested XP that I can just automatically level up my character faster next time. I'm not
Yep.
getting a huge penalties for it. So, I mean, they've really done well at those parts of it and making this an enjoyable game for the parts that are enjoyable. And I mean, I've put so many hours into this that, okay, it's a bad game, but who else has spent 170 hours in a bad game and continues playing it? Like,
Yeah.
if a game's bad, usually you just put it on the shelf, you stop. Whereas, like I say, this game keeps me going. So,
Yeah.
and with
Agreed.
that, with that same thing, one of the things I am also thankful for this year is we got a big push for cooperative games this year. So many companies came out with a lot of like we saw, uh, Avengers got a big push again, which I know didn't come out this year, but that got a big push again. We had
Hmm.
the new game that Outsiders that got a big push this year as a cooperative game, but it seems like crossplay is also becoming a big thing.
Yep.
Crossplay is becoming huge. Before it was here's your 5 or 6 games that are gonna be crossplay, whereas now it's here's all these giant amount of games that are become crossplay and
Yeah.
cross-platform. I'm able to now take my PS5 library, PS4 library, and go with my buddies that are on their computers and be like, I don't have to re-buy that game again on my PC to play with them.
Mhm.
I can just pick up my PS5, put it through my capture card, and then play that way, or play it on a TV and talk to them through Discord, and we can all play together. And I think that's a great way to go. We're no longer having this debate of, well, you're on Xbox, you're on PlayStation, you're on PC, because that always
Mhm.
caused a lot of issue, and that's the reason why you bought a console or bought a game. Whereas now it's like, hey, Back for Blood, you own it, I own it, let's play, right? And I mean, we got a big push for that, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy that we got a lot of those experiences. And it also, like this year as well, we saw a lot of pushes in the sense of just content creators getting a lot together with COVID being still a thing. There's so many content creators that are banding together, so many other game companies that are banding together as well to bring us events that keep games going. So I'm happy for that as well.
Yeah, I'm so glad that crossplay is finally the expectation instead of the exception, right?
Exactly.
I love that if a game isn't crossplay now, you are like setting yourself up for failure, because it's so nice being able to play with my friends who are on Xbox and on PlayStation while I'm on my PC. We can all hang out and have a great time. It's I hope that we continue to strive for that in the industry, and it becomes even more of a standard, and we don't see, so even some of these outlier games that aren't doing it right at launch or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So what else
Now,
are you thankful for?
yes, the second thing that I'm thankful for is the best game to come out in 2021. I know this was talked about last week, but I need to speak my piece. Returnal. How in the world did this thing not get nominated for the Game Awards Game of the Year? It blows my mind. Returnal is like, just if you take a video game and boil it down into like its raw essence, you get Returnal. Like, it's difficult, and it's rewarding, and there's progression, and the biomes are beautiful, and the soundtrack is incredible, and the combat is compelling. Like, it just
Do
it's
you want me to let
such
you know
a
the reason
video game
why?
ass video game.
Do
Yes.
you want to know why is because this game came out at a time where not only were PS5s very limited, but it also came out at a time where having an $80 price tag on a game was
Hmm.
seen as, I don't think they're going to be worth it. And I
Sure.
think that's where Returnal did change that opinion of a lot of people. The people that paid that full amount were like, no, we're paying for next gen. This is next gen. Returnal really showed us that this is the reason of what next gen is. Having that seamless, you die, you're right back in the game. There's no loading screens. There's no this. It's randomly generating the world as the cutscenes playing. You know, the all the guns have 2 button controls. I can share play with someone and play on their screen at the same time and play for them, and they can show me a game. Like this game really showed a lot of next gen stuff. And
Hmm.
I think the sad thing is because it came out so early and because it had that price tag when Ratchet and Clank came out earlier, and then everyone went like, "Oh, remember all that stuff you liked in Returnal, like the controller stuff and the no loading screens and all that? It's in Ratchet." And people were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, well now I'll buy this because it doesn't seem that hard or it doesn't seem like my game." And I do
Sure.
believe that Returnal, I'm glad to see it did get some nominees. I do think it should have got maybe a couple more, but you know what? I do see this game being on some people's list for sure and being nominated by someone for Game of the Year, 100%.
It's just such a fucking good game. Play Returnal, buy Returnal,
I still need to play
buy the
it.
game multiple times. Like it's incredible. All
Yes.
right, Corey,
So
you've
the
got a
big
real
one for
sappy
me, the
one
big
here.
thankful for one for me is for those who don't know, maybe you've only seen my face for the last 6 weeks, but I've been behind the scenes for the past year of 2021, helping out dual screens with just giving Andy, you know, helping out with giving ideas for new shows or even who to interview and stuff like that, and just like, you know, giving my little piece and helping out Andy and stuff like that. But for those who don't know, I had one of the biggest achievements of my life. I still have to finalize the achievement, but I finally got down and did a world record. I sat there and streamed Call of Duty Warzone for 145 and a half hours.
Not
Um,
just one world record, Corey. You're selling
Six.
yourself
Sorry,
very
I
short.
think if depending on how it all works, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 records. Okay, so I ended up, if everything goes well, once we apply for everything and get it done, I'll have achieved my life goal of, at the time it was one world record, but now at this time it's 4 to 6 world records of doing this. And, you know, the big part about that is after all me doing that, and even like Steve said himself, I did it for dual screens. I streamed on dual screens, and a lot of people looked at me and said, why? They're like, why would you? This is one of those things where you could have sat there, made your own channel, and been from zero to nothing or zero to something in a day. You could have done it. You could have sat there and you could have went from no followers, no nothing. You could have, I was interviewed by news stations. I was on TV in Canada. Like I was on the news network across Canada. Like I had the chance to be that that person that just jetted my channel from zero to something in a day. And I chose to do it for dual screens, and it's because my goal is to be part of a team and build up something. I don't want. I think in this day and age, um, the best fun part is being part of a team and seeing the whole team succeed over just one individual. And that's why for me, I did it for dual screens, and I still remember it now as I'm streaming the world record. Steve would always come in and he'd be like, "What's this Wii stuff?" He's like, "You're literally doing 145 and a half hour stream. We're basically doing nothing for you. Why do you keep on saying we when it's really just you?" And like I said to him, is that I wanted this to be part of dual screens. And you know, just 4 weeks ago, I was finally announced as an official member of dual screens. I'm now part of the team. We're now coming out with more content. We're doing more things. But it's the idea that I went from at the start of the year, not really doing a lot of streaming, not doing a lot of the stuff, to being part of the dual screens team, to achieving my goal of accomplishing this world record and going for more goals now. And you know, it's super exciting, and I can't wait for 2022 to be the biggest year I think for dual screens we're gonna have, and especially for myself as well. So
Well, we've
I can't wait.
absolutely loved having you with the team. It's been so nice having more hands to try and raise this rickety ass falling apart ship
Well,
that we're
it's nice to see
creeping
you come
afloat.
back too. Like I know that's the big thing, right? At the
Hmm.
beginning of 2021, we were having a horrible time. We're keeping everyone together and stuff like that. And it's nice to see now coming at the end of 2021, you and me now we're on the same time zone. We're gonna be the best of the West and come in here and give you guys content. We're gonna try our best to do stuff, but it's we're gonna be able to do stuff more now and see your
Yep.
face and see my face and see Andy's face and see Steve and do stuff that we want to do, and be part of that instead of like you said yourself, you started a podcast that you enjoy and you love and you get to do this game that you love and enjoy instead of trying to come on to crossplay where I know we talk about game news. Sometimes that's not
Hmm.
very entertaining. Sometimes we just don't feel like it. Let's be honest here. But you know what? We're here for you guys, and the cool thing is when we get to do that stuff on the side that brings us passion, we get to bring that to you guys as well, and
Yeah.
then we get to be excited here and see you guys all the time. Which
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Corey, I have one more thing
yeah,
that I am thankful for. It's not nearly as like heartfelt and genuine as yours though. So I feel kind of bad for putting this on
well,
here.
no, I got one more at the end. I got one more at the end.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
But I am so incredibly thankful for Xbox Game Pass so that I can play Halo, Skyrim, and Minecraft and feel like I'm in high school again. That
Yeah,
has been such a cool experience over the last couple of weeks with the Skyrim anniversary stuff coming out, the shadow drop of Halo. Um, Minecraft is just always there. It's been really really fun revisiting a lot of these games that I played when I was in school. So I feel 10 years younger. It's amazing.
yeah. So I want to bring out one more thing.
Okay,
I know we don't have it on the list,
all right,
but I
we're
think this is going to
freeballing
be
here.
the biggest thing that, and you know what? It's going to be like a dead record. The most thankful thing that we are thankful for here is you guys, the listeners, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do the content we wouldn't be able to do. Like I said, during the record, it was you guys in the chat that were keeping me going, jumping into the Discord, jumping into chat, seeing how I was doing, talking to me, engaging with me, and keeping me going during that time because that was super tough. And I know that you guys having our supports when we come up with new shows and new content and supporting those in those and coming onto Patreon and coming into our Discord. We couldn't do any of this without you guys. And that's what we're truly thankful for is you guys being here. And like even right now, we've got everyone talking about what they're thankful for. They're able to come and join us and be part of this community and be thankful for being doing that. We've got thankful for, a sequel to Metroid. That's something else someone said. Like Mr. Nuff, one of our other buddies here that we watch all the time, I watched him beat Returnal. And, we talk about that, being thankful, being him there for him and stuff like that. And I mean, that's the big thing when it comes down to is, being part of this community, I think is the biggest thing we can be thankful for is having a community like you guys that help and support us, do whatever we want to do and enjoy this and keep us growing and growing every day. And,
I
making
think
every year better.
I think Miss Envy summed it up best. Over in the Discord, Miss Envy posted, "This year in video games, I'm most thankful for all the new friends they have brought into my life and the lives of those around me. Through gaming, we've been able to laugh and hang out together without the risk of the pandemic." And I think that just echoes all of our sentiments. It has been so
Exactly.
cool this year being able to bond with people all across the North America and all around the
Oh,
globe.
Europe, Canada,
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's been very very cool. So really, from the bottom of all of our hearts, I know Steve and Andy would echo the same sentiment. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, let's bring this Thanksgiving episode of the Crossplay Podcast home. Where can people find you?
People can find me obviously on our Discord, on our Facebook group as well. Mainly in the Discord though, once you become a part of that Patreon group. But if you want to find me outside of that, I am at the Grounded Gamer, no E double D, on everything: Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, uh, Twitter, heck, everything. Just hit me up.
MySpace.
I don't have a MySpace.
Grinder,
Okay, you can't find me
all
there either.
all of
I'm
them.
married now. I can't be on those types of things. Okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You can find me at It's Purger everywhere. And then you can follow us on Twitter at dual_screens. Join our Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/DS podcasts. And then you can also follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/dual screen streams, and youtube.com/dual screens TV. Thank you so much to Zazu Pitts, Matt Murray, Andrew Douglas for all of our amazing artwork, our song. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, please be excellent to each other.
And stay grounded.